Hey folks, MasakoX here. It's a week to go before the next chapter of the Dragon Ball Super manga comes out, and I think it's safe to say that we all like to have ourselves a little bit of a guessing game as to what we can expect in the next outing. On the official Dragon Ball website, the likes of the moderators there add sketches and drafts for the next chapter to give us a feeling of what we could possibly expect in the following entry of the story. However, I don't like to do that. That would be spoiling it for myself and for you. Instead, I felt it might be more fun, and safer, to predict what we might see in Chapter 77, spoiler-free, based on what we already know. And if you like this, do leave a like and subscribe, as well as maybe drop a cheeky membership to support the channel, yeah? Thank you. However, before we go into this coming chapter's predictions, let's go over last month's and see which ones you could say I got right or wrong. So first off, we had that the battle will conclude with no overall victor. I'd say this is half right. We didn't have a conclusive winner, but Granolah ultimately was the dominant force. I know I was a little heavy-handed when it came to my Vegeta perspective and that he didn't get an L, so instead of a full point, I'm calling it a half point. Then we had the prediction that there'd be no Gogeta, and that was correct. Nothing more to say. The Heeters will use the Dragon Balls was next, and that didn't happen, so I don't get any points. Monaito will die or be injured was next, and again, that didn't happen. But Monaito did play a role in the end of the chapter, so I call that some sense of moral victory, but no points. Finally, the Shigerians would banish Granolah from their world. I'm going to call this half right because I think it will lead to that. Whilst they haven't cast him out yet, life between them will certainly become more awkward going forward. That, and they've seen him for what he is these days, completely ruthless, so it can't have done his reputation there any good. I got 2 out of 5. Not terrible. What was your score? Can we do better this month? I get to carry over 1 prediction per month, but I can only do it once, and then I have to forfeit it. Which one am I going to carry over? That the Heeters will use the Dragon Balls. Now I've changed this a little bit, in that the Heeters will still be in the hot seat to use the Dragon Balls this time around, but some things change. These Dragon Balls have no cooldown period, so it is possible for them to use them, so long as you can find the orbs in good time, which you can, given that they stole Bulma's Dragon Radar earlier in the saga, when bringing the Saiyans to Planet Cereal. With Torombo being able to do whatever they want, mostly for a price sometimes, Elec will use the wish they get to either take away Granolah's powers. I don't really think that's likely anymore based on the fact that Granolah's no longer a main threat to our main characters, hopefully, or give Gas similar powers to what Granolah got to outclass everybody, putting the bounty hunter in his place. The fact that they have the radar means that they will get a wish on the dragon. It would be rather odd for them to get the dragon radar and then nothing comes of it. But mind you, we've been burnt like this before. And it would also be rather odd if they got caught. How would that be possible? Well, Monaito could feel the balls being used, but by the time anyone else could register that fact, and they could do something about it, the wish would have already been made. Nothing could be done. In any case, the Heats have the intel they need to get any wish that they want right away. And they're going to use their ill-gotten gains because that's what they do. Now onto my brand new predictions, plus one from Havrock himself to add a little bit of spice into the mix. Number 2. Goku is going to find out stuff about his father for the first time. This one is relatively obvious, but that doesn't make it any less impactful. Never before has Goku been in a position where he is about to hear significant information about his father Bardock, or anything about him in any meaningful capacity. Granted, he's heard mentions in the past, but never from anybody who actually met the guy. Vegeta alluded to him in the past once or twice, but he never met Bardock, but Monaito did. And Granolah, technically, but he doesn't remember. Both of them were there when Bardock supposedly had something to do with he and Granolah's safety on Planet Cereal during the Saiyan attack. We all know that Goku isn't all that fussed about learning more about his dad on his own. He's not really shown any interest in doing so. But he's here, and he's about to hear it straight from a bystander, and that his dad was capable of saving people in some capacity. I mean, that's got to be enough to at least make the Saiyan at least a little curious about his parents. But what he chooses to do with this information is uncertain. But this isn't going to make him suddenly have a profound desire to meet his folks, I reckon. He's past that. But then again, this could be all part of his new push to accept his Saiyan heritage, like we saw at the end of the Broly movie. Him actively telling Broly to call him Kakarot, something he's never done before. Where this plot thread goes in the future is up in the air, but we hope that Goku at least processes it instead of just saying, Huh. Anyway, number 3. In the flashback, Bardock would have actively protected Granolah, Monaito, and the former's mother. Now when it comes to the flashback, this is a little bit up in the air. We don't know the full story about what will occur in the exchanges between the Saiyan and the people he protects. We don't even know what happened to Granolah's mother and why she wasn't saved either and hasn't lived to tell the tale. What we do know is from earlier chapters, in that Granolah, Monaito, and by proxy his mum, ran into a church and sought refuge. Then, Bardock's Uzaru form found them, and we were led to believe that he was the one that attacked the group. But then when Monaito comes in the previous chapter, telling everyone that at least one monkey, Bardock, was decent, this changes everything. I had a feeling that this new Bardock wouldn't be so cold as to squish 3 non-threats in his eyes. And I also know that some of you out there will hate this, deeming that this Bardock is a complete travesty. But hey, this is Toriyama's Bardock, not the Toei branded Bardock we got in 1990. I believe that Bardock's monkey form will have it, so he makes it out to his crew that this building is not worth destroying, and that it's left alone until it heats off. Then, when the moon or get mixed thing wears off, Bardock will find them again, getting them medical attention in some capacity. Perhaps, and this is something really cool that Haverock and I like, this is where we'll see the beginnings of that gut feeling he had in Minus and the Broly movie. That's starting to come to the fore. That something isn't right about the fact that the monkeys were sent here of all places. Seems kind of odd. Salyans aren't direct threats to Frieza or the Saiyans. They're snipers, they're not full-on warriors that could mount an attack at any moment, nor are they really super powerful en masse. This might have been the final mission in fact before the Saiyans were called back to planet Vegeta. We shall find out more, including how Granolah's mother most likely didn't make it too. Number 4. Granolah and the 2 Saiyans from Earth call a formal truce. This one is something I'm really hoping for, that the squabble that we've seen for the past 5 months is put to rest. The whole idea of Granolah wailing against Goku constantly, hysterically in fact, I mean, it's really getting old now and it's getting on my nerves. With the 2 of them pleading their case, Goku and Vegeta, of their ignorance, as well as Monaito and Oatmeal providing new information to Granolah for the first time, which I'm surprised that they actually kept from him, this surely would be enough to get the bounty hunter to, if not forgive the Saiyans, at least calm him down enough to realise the truth that he was rescued by a Saiyan. Then on top of that, he'll begin to understand that the Heeters are the ones in charge of proceedings here, them playing the 3 of them here for a bunch of dunderheads. By the time they do though, it'll most likely be too late, and they'll have to deal with the consequences, and the Dragon Balls will have been used as I said in my first prediction. Then, we might also have it that the characters find out about Granolah's bargain with Torombo, that he only has about less than 3 years or so to live. And Vegeta will be horrified by this, and lambast Granolah for being so reckless, making his whole effort to get through to him earlier all the more futile and bizarre. How desperate was this guy to kill them? In any case, I feel that the spat between them will conclude in this chapter. I mean, I really want it to. And number 5, Vegeta will have some kind of emotional crisis. It was alluded to in the last chapter. Vegeta is currently going through a hard time, emotionally speaking. Yes, a lot of you folks out there aren't pleased to see this Prince of All Saiyans being all open about his feelings and not the same cold and ruthless killer he was back in the Saiyan saga, but that version of Vegeta, folks, that doesn't exist anymore. Get over it. With Dragon Ball Super being on Sunday morning cartoon slots for kids, even with Toyotaro being able to go a little bit further, the days of Z-level violence ain't gonna happen where you could get pretty graphic with that being aired on Wednesday primetime in Japan back in the day. This Vegeta also is older, more mature, and whilst he can tap into his early days of anger, it can only go so far depending on the target. He will have learnt a lot from this power though, and will know the signs of it. But I feel that he will be going through another spell of trying to figure himself out before we get to the time of End of Z. But then of course, there's Dragon Ball Super Superhero. Who knows what Vegeta will see in that one? But I also think he's going to tap into Ultra Ego once more, but I'm not counting that as a prediction, and it will be against Frieza. And I get the feeling that when he does that against Frieza, using his youthful anger and vigour and brutal nature, oh, that's going to be much easier to do. Because he's fighting against his greatest nemesis. I think even the new Vegeta can be quite cold against Frieza. And then we have Haverock's prediction, in his own words. We won't be surprised if the next time our heroes, and anti-hero in the case of Granolah, will see Frieza, he will have something that would give him an advantage. A new ally, something that would keep him from dying. Or a new transformation altogether. That's right, there might be something beyond Golden Frieza waiting for the Space Emperor. Now my thoughts about this one, well, it's quite a bit far out here, but if Frieza's going to play some kind of role in this saga, it's about time that we at least see him in it, in the actual saga. After all, it's been about 10 months since the arc began, and we haven't even caught a glimpse of him in the current timeline of the former Emperor. Not so much as a brief cameo's come our way. Yeah, of course, this could be building up to something quite big that he's retrieved, like Haverock has alluded to. But what this could be, is still up in the air, for the simple fact that we've got nothing to go on. Might he have finally captured Broly for his own ends like he alluded to in the movie? Him imprisoned with mind control, ironically? Perhaps, but we don't know. But would they really make Broly officially debut in the main timeline outside of the movies? I mean, they could do, but that would merely be for eyeballs on the story. It's window dressing. Most likely Frieza has perfected his golden powers even further to the point where true golden Frieza from the tournament looks woefully weak by comparison. Something that means he can go up against mastered Ultra Instinct Goku. We shall wait and see though about that chestnut. Come back next week to see whether we got any of these right or wrong, and do tell me in the comments. In the case of this, I am happy to be incorrect about such matters, as that means that the actual Dragon team are doing their job right. A good job in keeping us guessing and intrigued. I want to be surprised, and I think you do too. I don't want to be guessing every single thing that occurs, otherwise, what's even the point of reading it if I'm just able to guess it every time? So, let me know down in the comments what your predictions are, and whether you agree with mine or not. That's totally up to you. And let's get this discussion going. And I will see you in the next video. Catch you later!